Cool. I didn't want to cut that off too early. I hope you enjoyed that. We are back from our break. We're now doing episode 4 of Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. Let's start. I'm really enjoying this.
The science
It's
of
good
understanding,
size. Good size
deconstructing,
episodes.
and reconstructing matter. However, it is not an all-powerful art. It is impossible to create something out of nothing. If one wishes to obtain something, something of equal value must be given. This is the law of equivalent exchange, the basis of all alchemy. In accordance with this law, there is a taboo among alchemists. Human transmutation is strictly forbidden. For what could equal the value of a human soul?
I mean, I love how it's like there is no God, there's only science. However, there is a human soul. And it's like, wait, hang on for a minute. What's the chemical compound of a human soul? What's it made up of? Oh, we don't know. Then why can you bind souls to objects? What is a soul then? It's like, you know, you've got something that you can't explain, yet you fully rely on science and say God doesn't exist. It's so... I don't see religion and science being two separate things. I think science can be used to explain the mechanism of the world. I want to see the kid using the 2 handguns. Did God create science? Maybe. Maybe. I mean, the world works in a certain way. Oh my god, I like that C2 emoji. I'm gonna need to get that in my life. I haven't seen Code Geass in so long. Alright, let's see this episode. Let's see what was going on here.
The town of Lior had
We
fallen
can't do
under the
Assassination
control of
Classroom
Father
because the
Cornello,
episodes
a
are out of
corrupt
order.
priest who used alchemy
Even though I
combined with
put
the
them in order,
Philosopher's
like,
Stone to
we
deceive
can't do
his
it.
people. Ed and Al came to Lior and put a stop to the priest's sinister plans. The Philosopher's Stone, however, was revealed to be a fake. Their leader exposed as a fraud, the hopes of the citizens of Lior were crushed. Stand up and walk. Move forward. These were Ed's words to Rose. Words he had once needed to hear himself.
I mean, that's the most important lesson of all. You should always be very mindful of people telling you what to believe in, because typically they always have an agenda behind it. I fully believe in the Big Bang, but I don't think I'll ever be able to completely deny the existence of a God because we just don't know. Well, when someone says a God or God, it doesn't necessarily need to be what religion preaches. A God or God could just be a being that we can't fully comprehend. It doesn't necessarily need to be an omnipotent creator of the universe. It could just be a creature or an entity that has involved itself at, a few points in time during human development and civilization. It's like, even say that God could be some alien or a fourth dimensional being might not exactly be far from the truth. So, it doesn't have to be one or the other. It's just, God might be a 14-year-old playing Sims in their room. Could be. God could just be a little kid. Or, this world could be a VR simulation. And God is just a troll or something. We don't know. Kuma, Mad Pat took out the power of the human soul in jewels. So, I don't know. Did he, though? The guy is sometimes a little full of shit. God might be a 14-year-old. I'm rather agnostic, but some incidents in my life made me believe in small miracles. Oh, I've seen very unusual things happen in person. I've got stories. That definitely makes me believe that the things we know about the world aren't exactly complete. I've seen some things which should be scientifically impossible, yet they've happened. So, One time, my stepmom looked at me in the eye and said she was God. She was the kind of person I wouldn't be surprised if it were true. I typically don't believe the people that look at me in the eyes and tell me they're God, especially when they're homeless people I encounter while waiting for the bus. But I have encountered, and I've told you guys the story of when my auntie was bitten by a snake in the field in Bosnia. So as you can imagine, that side of the family came from the region now that is Bosnia after Yugoslavia was broken up. She was working in the field and she was bitten by a snake. The snake being poisonous or venomous, I don't know what the correct term is, but it was effectively bad. She had a bite, she was very ill very quickly. And they didn't know what to do. You don't know which snake it was, what brand of poison it is, or what to do. So basically there was this hermit pretty much that lived out in the middle of the forest there in Bosnia, who was apparently a snake whisperer, a very weird hermit that lives by himself. And so basically what ended up happening is we took the car over there. And I was like, what the fuck? Anyway, we end up over there. It's a very dingy, dirt, metal, gravelly road, unmaintained grass area, old broken fences and everything. And the home looked pretty derelict. And in the front yard were dozens of snakes. And I mean dozens. I was shitting myself. I thought the snakes were going to attack us. But the snakes didn't approach anybody. Anyway, so there's the hermit. And they pretty much explain what happened. And we bring him back to the house. I know, right? We're riding in the car with a crazy hermit with a long beard that looks like, like a homeless Santa Claus. Don't even get me started on the smell. Anyway, we arrive at the house. We explain what happened. We tell where the field was, roughly where she was bitten. Well, my auntie tells the field where she was roughly bitten. And the guy goes out in the field. He goes around, looks around, he crouches down, and he picks up a fucking snake. He picks up a snake and he literally holds it in front of him like this. And he's talking to the snake and he brings it back to the house. Anyway, so he's holding a freaking snake in his hand, right? He's holding a snake. It's a real living snake. And he basically says, this was the snake that bit you. And he basically looks at the snake and he says, apologize. Of course, this is all in Serbian, so I'm giving a translation. It says, apologize. He literally puts the snake in my auntie's face. The snake is like right fucking here. My auntie's head, and the snake's like right fucking here. Like here. I'm literally shitting myself at this point, right? It's a goddamn snake. Those things can kill you. And he basically grabs it back and he says the snake apologizes. He's like, give me a cup. So they give him like a coffee mug, and the snake literally bites down on the coffee mug and excretes, the venom from its fangs. And he basically starts cooking up this concoction for an antidote or something. He cooks it up, he gives it to my auntie. My auntie drinks it, he's like, she'll be fine in a few days. And he goes and brings the snake with him back home. He brought his snake home to his yard. My auntie was fine after that. Now, that's a crazy story, right? Scientifically, how the fuck is the guy talking to snakes? Why on earth would the snake bite down on a cup? I wouldn't believe it if someone was telling me. It's batshit insane. But it happened. So as soon as I experienced that, I was very open to the idea of these stories being possible. The old legends people, talk about, the folklore tales of, like a talking fox or a talking wolf or, a talking turtle or, something transforming into something else. Because I saw something that completely defied rationale and, it's completely out there. If the snake can understand this guy and this guy can talk to the snake, what's to stop someone else in the past several thousand years being able to talk to a fox or a wolf or a turtle or spirits of a forest or, a tree? What's to say that that's impossible? And that opens a door of possibilities. And then listening to, legends from different parts of the world, I started, seeing similarities from the legends in the East being from Asia and the legends in Europe and whatnot. And some of them actually appeared to be retellings of very similar stories from either a different point of view or very slight differences. And of course, the church borrowed a lot of these stories conveniently and spun them in a very religious context to, help bridge the gap between pagans and people. But I'm open to the idea that some of these things are possible. So as soon as people start talking about things that have happened years ago, and I mean thousands of years ago, and miracles and things like that, I don't completely jump to the conclusion that it's impossible. I sometimes say, well, it's very difficult to believe. The circumstances are, beyond me. But I'm not going to completely rule out that it's impossible just because I think scientifically it can't happen. The likelihood is near zero, but it's not zero. And there could be things in this world that work in ways that we don't understand yet. You know? We understand atoms, we understand science in that sense, but we still don't understand other things like, say, another dimension or an alternate reality that is, you know, right next to our own. We don't understand this. Whoa! You gifted. Thank you for gifting a sub. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Much appreciated. I'm going to have to get that Ari moan sound and replace that with that big glass shattering that you hear in the background every time we get a sub. I know that's in the desktop, and we very rarely use the desktop, but it would be pretty interesting. So it's just, yeah. To be honest, there's probably some truth behind almost every story and legend. Kuma would be great on an episode of Middle Ground. I don't know what Middle Ground is, but maybe, who knows? Just basically don't believe everything blindly, but don't be closed-minded either. Yeah, like, just be open to listening to things and just broadening your perspective, because you never know. I mean, I wouldn't have believed it, but now I'm just like, you know, what the hell? I mean, I had that same experience. I told you the story of when my grandmother died, when I was crying as a kid. I've told you that story. And then when the woman that was like my grandmother died, I told you I felt like this gust of cold wind go right through me when she died. And we found out, you know, 10 minutes later that the poor lady died 10 minutes before that. And as well as when my father was dying, I could sort of feel like an hourglass of sand ticking down. And I could roughly tell how much time he had left. And I was the one that effectively arrived at the hospital and felt his pulse as it ticked down. So these things are strange, and it's beyond science. But, you know, the old pagan religions did believe to communicate with nature. Even death was regarded as just returning what Earth gave. Well, yeah, death is just another part of the cycle. We're made up of atoms that came from the Earth, and we return to it, you know? Nature goes on, life goes on. It's effectively recycled. Death is not necessarily evil in any sense. It's a part of the cycle of life. Middle Ground is a show on YouTube channel called Jubilee. They've done some anime topics. Okay, I have a question. You find a new overlay yet? I was checking out overlays on Streamlabs. You unfortunately have to pay to download anything, but the only issue with the overlay packages is once you download a package, you're effectively locked into that particular overlay set, so you can't change the color scheme or the text or anything like that. So I'm trying to find an overlay that's as close to what we would like as possible, but it's becoming very difficult, because if I switch overlays here, I very much like the chat. I would like it to be long, so it would be the entire left side. Unfortunately, the Persona one can't do that. But I would like an overlay that has text on the left-hand side. And I wouldn't mind having the event ticker on who's following, gifting subs and whatnot. But the donation ticker is getting a little bit stale, as is the donation goal. So I'd like to get rid of those. But unfortunately, the Persona theme doesn't let you customize anything. And this is all it has. So I have to hopefully find something that works. Middle Ground is a YouTube series where it takes two opposing perspectives and talks to spark a dialogue. Example, flat earthers versus scientists. That would be an interesting watch. Okay, Middle Ground sounds like something I really wanted to do. It sounds like something we should watch at another point in time. But for now, we should get started with episode 4 of Fullmetal Alchemist. Otherwise, we will never get started. Death was never evil. That hails from the church spreading tales of hell to make people afraid. It was always neutral, a part of the cycle. I mean, pretty much. And the whole concept of hell came from the Catholic Church, did it not? And they used that concept in order to sell, you know, merchandise to get people out of purgatory, which is another thing they came up with themselves, because the Catholic Church needed money. Death just being a part of life, and hell just being a place with absence of God. Okay, let's get started with Fullmetal Alchemist Level 4. We can continue this conversation in between episodes, but at the very least, we should have a little bit of a reaction too, to keep the ratio nice and balanced. Balance in all things is important, even though I haven't seen Avengers Endgame. I really should. We can do it as a live reaction if you want. I know the meme, you know, all balance, like balance in all things. Like, I can do this with my throwing knife, but I struggle with a pen. But yeah, let's do this. An alchemist's anguish. How much you want to bet that Gul'dan was just an alchemist? Oh my god. You could tell that this guy is from the old German Empire. Just look at the size of the guy's beard. Look at that beard. That is some... This uniform is very reminiscent of the World War I, World War II German uniforms. Like, look at this. The grey with the darker... Well, it looks green in this moonlight, but damn, and look at that beard. I mean, it's kind of the opposite way, but like... Damn. This is some old school German. I'm saying that in a good way, by the way.
Murderer who's been making a habit of targeting state alchemists lately. Why? Who's asking?
These were Ed's words to Rose. Words he had once needed to hear himself.
That mustache has done more push-ups than I have in my whole life. Me too.
You are Bas Grön, the Iron Blood alchemist, correct?
Why? Who's asking?
Foolish alchemists who have turned their backs on the ways of God shall all be punished.
I see. You must be the bloodthirsty murderer who's been making a habit of targeting state alchemists lately. Well, this time, you picked the wrong target!
Ooh, what a manly man. He's like, fuck weapons. Boom, I am the weapon. Oof. You telling me he's not German? Look at that firepower.
You're fast.
Is he Naruto running?
A little more! That wasn't so difficult.
Wait, finish him off. What are you doing? Idiots.
What? No! How?
Now you perish.
Wait, he reminds me of the guy from Hellsing. Father Anderson! With sunglasses.
Another state alchemist dead.
This killer is highly skilled.
Major, you watch yourself. For all we know, you could be the next one he comes after.
Understood.
Wait, he's going after bald guys with mustaches? Motherfucker.
Führer Bradley, Your Excellency, what brings you here?
I'm sorry, the guy's dressed in German clothing calling the guy Führer. This is so bad.
I got word of what happened.
I don't want to be racist, but do you notice any non-white people in this military outfit? Because I don't. Bloody Nazis. And this reminds me of the Nazi that tried to enact, what was it called? Operation Valkyrie. If you guys know. He tried to assassinate Hitler and take over fuck. Oh, wow, that's racist. They're fucking Nazis! Of course they're racist!
Lieutenant Colonel Hughes, you're the officer in charge of this case?
Yes, sir.
Should you need any additional personnel, just ask. The man doing this is a traitor. I want him stopped.
Sir.
Lieutenant Breda.
Right.
See what I mean? Nazis.
Jeez. The Colonel's sure letting his work pile up again, huh? Havoc, give me a hand, will ya?
I mean, here's the thing, right? If you want occult stuff, look at the amount of assassinations attempts there were on Hitler and how many times he survived assassination by sheer dumb luck. Like, survived by luck. And then one of the Nazi officers that was looking at helping, I think it was Ernest Röhm, he was looking at surrendering over to the Allies, which would have been a huge dent to the Nazi campaign. He was shot down by an airplane on his way to negotiate with the Allies. Like, sheer dumb luck. Like, gunned down by a random fucking airplane while he was in a car. What the fuck? The other two people in the car survived. Or the briefcase that Hitler was supposed to kill Hitler was, say, put over here, down here, and it was moved over here next to this. So if it was over here, it would have killed Hitler. Since it was over here, Hitler didn't die. Boom. Sheer dumb luck. Or the fact that they placed the bomb while Hitler was doing a speech, and Hitler, for the first time ever, went out 15 minutes early, which he, never does. Boom. Got lucky again. The sheer amount of bullshittery Hitler had on his side was bullshit. Makes you wonder. And he was heavily involved in the occult before he became the leader of Germany. So, makes you wonder. And he was cursed that within 7 years of betraying his allies in the Night of Long Knives, his rule would fall apart, and it fell apart 7 years later. It's just incredible. It's just, oh my god. The amount of bullshittery around that time was just insane. And the amount of resources that were being pumped into occult and archaeological crap by the Nazis was insane. Just insane. They even had a goddamn death ray, which they didn't authorize the use of. They had jet engines, which they could have used on airplanes, which they didn't authorize the use of. I mean, the thing that actually stopped Germany from winning the war was actually Hitler. Had the military personnel been in charge of the military and been making the military decisions, Germany would have won the war. So I guess in a sense we were lucky that Hitler was so stupid. Otherwise, we'd all be speaking German right now. Actually, probably half of us would be dead. Because he hates the Slavs. I'd definitely be dead. Kuma, the guy who tried Operation Valkyrie, actually was Big Boss. He had one hand and an eye wearing an eye patch. He had two hands, but he was missing two fingers on one of his hands. Which is why he wore the gloves.
I've got plenty to do over here already. Next up, who's this?
Oh my god, he's targeting bald men with mustaches.
Lieutenant Yoki.
This guy's a serial killer. We got his MO. Everyone, shave the mustaches. Get rid of them. That's how he's picking his targets. See, I look up serial killers too much in my spare time. I'm looking at MOs here.
Remember? The crook who was using the Uswell coal mine concessions to line his own pockets? Anyway, the Elric brothers exposed what that dirty thief was up to, and now he's on the run.
Master Sergeant Fury, how's the radio?
The receiver on this thing's seen better days. I think I'm gonna have to replace it.
What?
Hey, it's Edward and Alphonse.
Welcome back, boys. Go on in, the Colonel's expecting you.
Well done on the Lior case, you two. Nice work. I appreciate you resolving the matter.
No big deal. It's not like we did it for you.
Right. The Philosopher's Stone. Another false lead?
He's like, did you bring it back? Because it's property of the state.
Yeah, after all that, the stone was a fake. Even so, the power it gave Cornello was real enough. He transmuted this huge Chimera right in front of us.
I still wonder how he was able to use the stone to do that. I'm not familiar enough with the field of bioalchemy to really understand it.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious about that too. It might be worth looking into. Who knows? Maybe we'll find something that could help us restore our bodies.
It might help if you consulted a specialist.
Huh?
The Sowing Life alchemist, Shou TUCKER. He's done some heavy research into Chimera transmutation.
It sounds like, from what he's doing, the law of equivalent exchange, it only applies when you're changing one form of matter into another. It has to maintain the same amount of mass. If you're just rearranging the parts that are already there, you don't actually need to exchange anything because nothing's being created. It's all staying the same. So, it's just being jumbled in the correct order, you know? So, if I broke my cup, I could transmute it back together because all the parts are still there. It's only if I was changing this can into a cup that I would need to actually do the change. At least that's what I get from it. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's just what I'm picking up so far. Which is why he's able to change the metal on his arm into whatever the hell he wants it to be without having to put up anything in exchange because it's maintaining the same amount of mass. That being said, does that mean that getting a very, very dense object with a lot of mass can be transmuted into something really huge that doesn't have as much mass? That's really interesting. Wouldn't that make mass-dense objects very valuable in this world? Because they can be... Oh, but then again, you could make everything... Huh. Yeah, that's really interesting.
I'll introduce you.
You would do that for us?
Okay, what's the catch? You want something, don't you?
Don't doubt my motives. I'm trying to repay you for your work on the Lior case.
Doing you a favor is better than being indebted to you.
2 years ago, Tucker transmuted a Chimera that could understand human speech. That earned him his certification as a state alchemist.
Wait, a Chimera that can understand human speech? The F?
I understand human speech. You mean... Wait, you mean it talks? A Chimera?
Right. Supposedly. It only said one thing. I want to die. After...
That's pretty fucked up. You created a creature and it wants to die. Wow.
After that, it refused to eat until it got its wish.
Wow.
Man, this house is huge.
I mean, if it wanted to die and it was starving itself, wouldn't it be the right thing to put it out of its misery in a humane way? Because dying through starvation ain't cool. Oh my god, it's Cheeky on crack.
You okay, Ed?
Daddy!
You know what's funny about big dogs? They have no sense of their own size. Like, if Cheeky was that size, she would behave the same way she does now. Big dogs are just like big softies.
There are people out here. Look!
Nina, this is why I told you to keep the dog tied up.
That's a good
I'm
boy.
sorry about the mess. Ever since my wife ran out, this place has been a wreck.
You sexist bastard.
I'm not much of a housekeeper. Now that we're all settled in, let me say that it's a pleasure to meet you, Edward. As the Colonel told you, I'm the sewing life alchemist, Shou Tucker.
Ed is interested in the field of biologic alchemy. He would like to have a look at your research, if that's possible.
Oh, yes, certainly. I don't mind. However, if you want me to show you the tricks I've got up my sleeve, it's only fair you show me the tricks you've got up yours as well.
Oh, sandbox rules. You show me mine, I show you mine. What?
It's the code we live by, equivalent exchange. Now, why are you interested in bioalchemy?
Oh, Ed. Well, you see, he's...
Colonel.
Aw, good dog.
You transmuted your mother? As an 11-year-old child?
Aww.
I see. So that's what earned you the title Fullmetal Alchemist. You've had a rough time of it for someone so young. I can't say for sure if it's going to be of any use to you or not. But why don't you go ahead and take a look at my laboratory?
What on earth are you doing?
It's kind of embarrassing. I'm fairly widely regarded as an authority on chimeras, but the truth is, it hasn't actually been going that well lately.
Well, you just keep creating them?
Oh, amazing!
This is my library. Feel free to look around.
All right, let's dive in. I'll start with this shelf.
I'll try starting over here.
I'm going to head back to work now. I'll send somebody by to get you this evening.
If you're not dead by then.
They've got some ability to focus. I'm not sure they even know we're here anymore. Quite a catch, these two. A couple of prodigies.
Oh my god, he's sus as fuck. You know why we don't like people wearing sunglasses? Because we can't see where their eyes are looking. That's why we feel threatened.
What are you doing? You're supposed to be reading!
Nina looked like she wanted to play.
Well, in case you forgot, we didn't come here to play horsey.
I love that dog.
He wants to play too.
That's what you want, is it? You've bested me twice, dog. But playtime is over. I will not lose this time! I, Edward Elric, will use my considerable powers to vanquish you! mangy
I love how the dog's like... Watch that again. That's so fucking good.
What is it? You've bested me twice, dog. But playtime is over. I will not lose this time! I, Edward Elric, will use my considerable powers to vanquish you! You mangy butt!
That was a nice touch.
Hey,
That
Chief, your ride has arrived.
He's lost.
What are you up to down there, Ed?
You know what? Let's just say I'm taking a break from a long day of research.
You know what's cool? She could actually ride the dog. That's so cool.
After all that, you must be dog tired. Why don't you come on back tomorrow?
You really going to come again?
We'll play some more tomorrow, okay, Nina?
Okay.
Oh, Mr. Tucker, I almost forgot. I've got a message for you. It's from the Colonel. He says, don't forget, assessment day is coming soon.
Yes. Please assure him I know.
Right.
Hey, Daddy? What does assessment day mean?
State alchemists have to report on their research once a year in order to keep their certification. You see, last year, Nina, your daddy didn't get a very good evaluation. Unless I do something really impressive this year, I won't be a state alchemist anymore.
Huh? No, you'll do just fine, Daddy. I know you will. You're always studying so much.
You're right, Nina. I have to try hard. Or we'll be left with nothing.
Aww.
Fullmetal Alchemist. Fullmetal Alchemist.
Government is a bunch of dicks.
Your mother left 2 years ago?
Daddy said she went back to live at her parents' house.
Wait, so those dishes have been sitting in the sink for 2 years? Jesus Christ, man.
It must get kind of lonely with just you and your dad living in this big house, huh?
Not really. Daddy's so nice, and plus I've got Alexander to play with, too. But lately, Daddy's been studying in his lab all the time. I guess that does make me a little bit lonely.
My shoulders are killing me.
Maybe you should try to move around some, brother.
Yeah, not a bad idea, Al. Hey, you mangy mutt! Looks like you could use some exercise.
Let's go too, Nina.
Such a nice guy.
Come on, Slowpoke! I'm gonna get you, look out, here I come!
That dog's winning. I count 4 rounds. Aww.
Don't forget, assessment day is coming soon.
He's gonna do something stupid, isn't he?
What I want to know is why this guy is only targeting state alchemists and no one else.
Excuse me, is the entire city a giant fucking pentagram? God damn the Nazis and their goddamn pentagrams.
If it's the military he's trying to hurt, he could go after normal soldiers. Surely soldiers would be easier to kill than highly skilled alchemists, especially ones that have been state certified.
No, it's a message. It's showing that he can kill high-level alchemists. He doesn't give a shit about them. It's sowing fear.
Maybe the certification is the reason. State alchemists are given high pay and special privilege. There must be any number of people who envy them for their positions. Or perhaps they feel they have not upheld their creed, alchemist be thou for the people. Alchemists who are supposed to be pillars of science and truth are turned into the military's walking weapons as soon as they receive certification.
I'm sorry, but the other guy's moustache was a lot more threatening. Your one is like... It's like the virgin moustache. The other guy had a Chad moustache.
There are plenty of people, I'm sure, who have not forgotten the role that state alchemists played in the Ishbalan Civil War.
I have a report, sir. A canvas has revealed that yesterday at 9:30, or right around that time, a man with a large scar on his face was sighted in the Central City train station by multiple station employees.
The station? Looks like that bastard got away.
Before I earned my state alchemist certification, our life was terrible. We were so poor in those days. My wife couldn't stand living that kind of life, so she left us.
Oh wow, your wife left you before you got your certification. And her kid? That's a bad mother.
I can't afford to fail this assessment. I don't want to go back to those days again. I don't even think I could.
Don't worry, Daddy, it's okay. If those people do tell you no, me and Alexander will growl at them until they say yes.
Don't you dare touch the dog! If you touch the dog, I swear to God.
You tell him, Nina.
Hey, Nina. I've got an idea. Do you want to play with Daddy tomorrow?
Really?
Yeah.
If you touch the dog, I swear to God.
Alexander, Daddy says he's going to play with us tomorrow.
Oh, God. And it's a rainy day. Oh, God, this is bad.
Hello, Mr. Tucker. Thanks for having us again today.
What did you do?
Mr. Tucker!
Hey, Nina!
What did you do?
Mr. Tucker!
Why are you crouching over the dog?
There you are. So you are home.
Yes.
What did you...
I did it, boys. I finally did it. A chimera that understands human speech.
You did what to the... I gotta not be so loud because everyone in the building is gonna hear me, but I am...
Here, let me show you. Listen to me. That person over there, that's Edward.
That person, Edward.
Yes, that's very good. Well done.
That's amazing. It can actually talk.
Where's your daughter? Did he combine his daughter and the dog? Oh my God.
Now I don't have to worry about losing my certification.
That person, Edward. That person, Edward. That person, Edward. Big brother Ed.
The fuck?
Mr. Tucker, when did you first get your state certification?
Let's see. It was 2 years ago.
And when did your wife leave you?
That was 2 years ago, too.
Oh, fuck me. Oh, my goddamn spine is...
I just have one more question for you.
Oh my God.
Nina and Alexander. Where are they?
Oh boy, yeah, we're all on the same page.
Damn brat, figuring it out so quickly.
Brother!
Oh yeah, I figured it out. You did it again! 2 years ago it was your wire. This time, you used your own daughter and her dog to transmute a talking chimera! You can only do so much with animals after all. It's much easier when you start with a human, isn't that right?
I don't see what you're so upset about. This is how we progress. Human experimentation is a necessary step. I would think a scientist should understand.
Shut up! Do you really think you can get away with this? Messing around with someone's life like that? Your own daughter!
Someone's life, you say? Haha, you'd know all about that, wouldn't you? Look at you, Fullmetal Alchemist. Look at your leg, your arm, your brother. Those things are also the result of messing around with somebody's life, aren't they?
Shut up!
We are the same. We're the same. You're just like me.
We're not!
Oh, but yes, we are. The opportunity was right in front of us, and we took it. We had to, even though we knew it was against the rules.
No! Not me! Alchemist, don't do that! I'm not!
If you keep this up...
Is he bleeding? How is he... What? That's kind of fucked.
He'll die!
He should be able to reverse it, right? He's still got all the mass in the Chimera. He should be able to separate him back, right? Like, if it can go one way, it can go the other.
Edward, no. Daddy, do you hurt Daddy?
Oh, fuck me! Oh, God, why are kids so goddamn innocent and wholesome? They can't even realize how fucked up their parents are because they have no external frame of reference, which is why abusing kids is so convenient for fucked up adults. Oh, God, don't even get me started. Don't even get me started.
I'm sorry. Even with all our power, we can't do anything to change you back. I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Can we play now? Can we play now?
I made it just in time. I get to remain a state alchemist. I passed.
Like hell you're staying a state alchemist. Like hell.
Can we play now?
If ever there was an example of the devil's work in this world, this case would definitely be it.
The devil, huh? A state alchemist must be willing to act, able to take another's life when ordered to without questioning. In some ways, Mr. Tucker's actions and our own may not be all that far apart.
Well, that's fucked up in such a system where you have to follow orders without asking questions. That's the ultimate form of indoctrination, when human will is no longer a factor. But it's fucked up that they're in such a system where they put the priority of their occupation over the, you know, well-being of their family. This person should have never had a family to begin with. Someone that's willing to sacrifice his wife, daughter, and pet is not deserving of a family. It's fucking disgusting.
When it comes to interfering with other people's lives, we choose our own path, knowing full well what we're doing. That's the way it is.
I physically, in my stomach, feel disgust right now, but also immeasurable rage.
Right, Fullmetal? You will more than likely come across cases like this again in the future. And you may end up having to get your own hands dirty as well. You gonna shut down like this every time?
Wow, so it's a well-known problem. What a great mode of government you have running here.
We may be called dogs of the military. We may even be cursed as devils. It doesn't matter. Al and I are still going to get our bodies back. We know the truth. We know we're not devils. We know we're not gods. We're human. We're only human!
I love how this entire quote here where it's talking about devils is hand in hand with the quote about people in war becoming demons and losing their humanity in war from MGS5. It goes hand in hand, being dogs of war. Meanwhile, the guy that's just walked down the stairs is like, we're already demons. It happens so often that we don't even flinch anymore. And you might have to do it yourself And it's like, what the fuck? Meanwhile, he's trying to retain his humanity, which is ironic considering he's less physically human than the other guy. It's pretty fucked up, isn't it? There's so much in this scene. There's so much. This is the type of shit you should be analyzing in an English class.
We can't even do anything to save one innocent little girl. So what good are we then?
Wow! What do you...
Do anything to save one innocent little girl.
I'm sorry.
So what good are we then?
This doesn't look like a gulag. I don't see any shackles. What the fuck?
I wonder why no one's capable of understanding me.
Why are his limbs intact?
Nina.
Yes, thank you. Fucking Slavic Adidas boy, torture him.
You're Shou Tucker, correct?
Who are you? Not military. Who are you? How did you get in here? There were military police out front.
Foolish alchemists who turn their backs on the ways of God shall be punished.
My only complaint from Adidas boy here is that it was too quick. It should have been slow, and I mean painfully fucking slow, to the point that he would be begging for death. Even better, keep him alive artificially to prolong the suffering. Nice pants, by the way.
Daddy's hurting. Daddy hurts.
Oh, God.
Oh, Daddy.
You poor creature. Once you've been given this form, there is no way of separating you again. At least, your passing will be in peace.
Here comes the real question. Did he do the right thing or not? That's a very difficult thing to answer. Fuck. Fuck.
God. Hear me. 2 human souls have just been returned to you. Please accept them into your loving arms. Please grant these poor lost souls everlasting peace and salvation.
Well, he does remind me of Father Anderson in Helsing. I don't know if that was intentional, because wasn't the dog called Anderson? Poor baby and poor puppy. She wasn't old enough to understand the want for death. I understand that if an adult is turned into a chimera like the mother was, that it's understandable that she'd want death because she can't continue in that form. It makes sense. For a child, she's young enough to potentially be able to adapt to it, but she's so limited by that form, and her soul's probably fused with the soul of the dog. But at the same time, is it possible for such a being to have a relatively happy and fulfilling life? I can't outright say that it's not, because I don't know if she's physically suffering. If she doesn't feel any physical pain from that form, it is entirely possible that she could have a relatively enjoyable and fulfilling life. At the same time, it's a hard thing to justify. If there's no suffering involved, then there is the possibility of happiness and fulfillment. So there's possibility, there's opportunity. You shouldn't end the life if there isn't suffering. If there is suffering, particularly physical and otherwise, then you can argue that, yes, you're ending someone's suffering. But in this case, that might not be the case. It's a very difficult and very touchy subject because it really brings on many things. She just wanted to play. Exactly. And that's one of the main things. She didn't appear to be suffering to me when we first saw her in the scene. I mean, my thought would have been remove the father and look after the kid, you know? I mean, it's a travesty what happened, but it doesn't mean that her life is... I mean, it's unfortunate, don't get me wrong, but at the same time, you can still ensure that she has a somewhat good life. I think it's only okay to kill if someone is in immense and constant suffering and there is nothing that will reverse it. Yeah, but when her only relative is the one who turned her into it, who is left to feed her and things, to give her the time. This is one of the unfortunate things that happens in pet adoption and pet, what's it called? Pet pounds. They have so many abandoned animals that they're unable to afford and look after them that they literally start putting them down. This is the fucked up reality of the situation. And we do the same thing with humans in other countries. We turn a blind eye to their suffering and they starve or they die of preventable diseases, malnourishment and things like this. That's another case in point. It's fucked up. And the response from the government, you know, by not even putting him in a jail or putting him in handcuffs was that like, well, you know, here's another one of those cases. You know, it's... Wow. This anime did a real number on us. Episode 1 being the introduction. Episode 2 being the hard-hitting... transmutation to try to get their mother back. Episode 3 being the lot easier to digest episode of the Philosopher's Stone and the cult leader. And now episode 4 being the hard-hitting Chimera. If this is any pattern to go by, and we will know in the next 2 episodes, episode 6 is gonna suck. Yeah, we'll probably rewatch that scene in the Japanese dub really quickly. This is actually commenting on him questioning if Nina and her dog can move on to heaven and Shou and hell, on questioning himself of doing the right thing for her, end her suffering and hope she can be in paradise. Chimeras are mostly made for immediate scientific research for some experimentation. She even sounded sad though. Think about it, Kuma. She would have been kept as a lab rat by the government. In my eyes, that was a mercy kill. Not everything has an answer. Sometimes it's just a series of events resulting from nature and the choices people make. Well, someone should step up to take care of her. I agree. But how many orphan children are there as a result of parents not stepping up to look after their own offspring? Much less someone else stepping up to look after somebody else's. That's the fucked up part. Kuma watched it in subbed. Discovery scene. I presume they put him in house arrest until his hearing. They could have also decided that the alchemist killer would have targeted someone like him, so they didn't bother locking him deep behind a lot of people. Planning on watching one more episode? Think we're out of time. It's 10:20. They don't understand the killer's motives yet. This is why I wanted to adopt. Adopting is a good thing. I adopted Cheeky for that very reason. Because if I bought a new puppy, or I asked the breeder to breed a puppy, there would be a puppy sitting in the pound all its life, which isn't so good, which is why I adopted Cheeky. I didn't want, you know, could you imagine Cheeky sitting in a pound? Of course, Cheeky wouldn't sit in a pound because she's a cute dog and everyone will want to adopt her. But because I adopted Cheeky, someone's probably going to adopt another dog that would otherwise sit in the pound. It's sad. It's a sad reality. Kind of like the dire Wangler in World War II. Hitler's death brigade consisted of purely mentally ill to execute. They were just given a scolding for going too far, even for the SS. We are fucked up for a species that claims to be civilized. I don't think we deserve the right to call ourselves a civilized species. We're not that civilized. Not by any sense of the word. We'd like to pretend we are, but we're really not. Just look at how we treat each other in our own societies, much less how we treat people in other societies. Much less the less fortunate. We don't even treat people with common decency, much less help out the less fortunate. So, civilized? No, we're not. Not even close. Not even close.
ニーナタッカーさんなんだいるじゃないか
いやできたよ完成品だ人語を理解するキメラだ見てくれいいかいこの人はエドワードそうよくできたね
すげえ本当に喋ってる
これで国家資格を失わずに済むよエドワードお兄ちゃん
タッカーさん国家資格取ったのいつだっけ
2年前だね
奥さんがいなくなったのは
2年前だね
もう一つ質問いいかなニーナとアレキサンダーどこ行った
君のような勘のいいガキは嫌いだよ
兄さんああそういうことだやりやがったな2年前はてめえの妻をそして今度は娘と犬を使ってキメラを錬成しやがった動物実験にも限界があるからな楽だろうさ人間使えば
な何を起こることがある人類の進歩は無数の人体実験の賜物だろう君も科学者なら
ふざけんなこんなことが許されると思ってんのかこんな人の命をもてあそぶようなことが
I mean, it's entirely possible that this human being is not only sociopathic but psychopathic because he seems to be completely unable to empathize with the people he's dealing with, even though they're his wife and kid. The fact that creatures like this breed disgusts me. Immeasurably so.
人の命そう人の命ね鋼の錬金術師君のその手足と弟それも君が言う人の命をもてあそんだ結果だろう違う
And this is another great example of his inability to empathize. He's looking at the actions, he's not looking at the motivation. He's unable to understand the motivation of him trying to get his mother back. The motivation being a loved one. Whereas his motivation is the love of himself. He can't empathize. He doesn't have that mechanism in him.
同じだよ君も私も違わないさ目の前に可能性があったから試したそれが禁忌であると知っていても違う俺は錬金術師だこんなこと俺は
それ以上やったら死んじゃう
What kind of person would do this to keep their certification? A monster. That's exactly what he is. Like I said, the only thing I regret is that his death was not painful. It should have been slow and miserable and prolonged as much as humanly possible. The fact that Nina recognizes people makes this even worse. I mean, it's messed up enough that way, but imagine being aware in this state. Now imagine everything else behind cages there with people being in those chimeras but aware, locked up in cages. No wonder these things were mad when Ed and Al first arrived. You're describing hell. Being kept alive. Fuck, that is some heavy shit, Golden. That is some heavy shit.
お父さん痛いお父さん痛い
ごめんね。僕たちの力では君を元に戻してあげられない。ごめんね。ごめんね。
遊ぼうよ遊ぼうよ
間に合ったんだ。これでまた国家錬金術師に。
何が国家錬金術師だ。何が。
遊ぼうよ。
悪魔の所業というものがこの世にあるなら、今回の件はまさにそれですね。
悪魔か。だが国家錬金術師は命あらば人の命を奪うことも辞さず行動せねばならん。人の命を同行する点でタッカー氏の行為と我々の立場に大きな差はない。そしてそれを承知の上でこの道を選んだ。そうだろう、鋼の。今後も今回のような事件に出くわすことはあるだろう。君自身が手を汚すこともあるかもしれん。その度にそうやって立ち止まるのか。
軍の犬と呼ばれようが悪魔と罵られようが、俺はあると二人元の体に戻ってやる。だけどな、俺たちは悪魔でもましてや神でもない人間なんだ。人間なんだよ。たった一人の女の子さえ助けてやれないちっぽけな人間だ。
なんで誰も分かってくれないんだろうな、ニーナ。
小タッカーだな。
I love how the weather perfectly synchronizes with what's happening. It was a overcast when they first arrive at the house, and when they discover what happens, the downpour begins. Now that he's walked into the room, thunder's here. It's like the time of reckoning.
誰だ？軍の者ではないな。どうやって入ってきた？表に憲兵がいたはずだ。
神の道に背きし錬金術師。滅ぶべし。
And it isn't it beautiful that he uses lightning to kill him, which is like the thunder that the weather is emitting. And to your comment that he's not even sorry, he's not sorry because he doesn't see what he did as wrong. He doesn't see his daughter or his wife as something with feelings or something that has a sense of purpose or a goal in life or something that can feel happiness. He's completely unable to connect emotionally to another person. He sees them as objects. That's why he doesn't feel. There's nothing in him to feel. Some people want to hurt other people they deem evil, not because it's just, but for their own satisfaction, which can have its own repercussions on the person's psyche. Well, to be honest, my upbringing was anything but pleasant, so I take particular disdain towards people that mistreat kids, especially parents that mistreat their kids. I'd pretty much say that my psyche is already fucked up as it is due to that trauma, and I'd say hurting such people would be very therapeutic. But the fact that he just got to die and not suffer for what he did, well, I mean, he would have died in a split second, so he probably wouldn't even be aware that he's dead. Hi, are you able to put your leg behind your head? No. He wasn't even sorry. Oh, I would have been surprised if the government jailed Nina too. Anyone who would dare hurt a child deserves worse than death. I do believe lightning has often been used as a symbol of God passing divine judgment. Indeed. Even in Norse mythology, they look at it as Thor's striking his, hammer. It's humans and nature.
Otou-san. 哀れな。この姿になってしまっては元に戻る方法はない。せめて安らかに行くがよい。神よ。今二つの魂があなたのもとへ帰りました。
I like how he says two souls, being the dog and the child. This thing never had a soul to begin with.
その広き懐に彼らを迎え入れ、哀れな魂に安息と救いを与えたまえ。
He doesn't want him to suffer. He's down this side. This was a fun anime, huh? If this is episode 4, I'm worried for episode 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, and every second episode onwards. This is some heavy shit. He should have killed the Chimera first, but I don't think he knew about it. I think he realized right after it started talking. Kuma, you said that the dog was a big cheeky, right? It was originally. 4 is a bad number. Oh yeah. Now this is where the anime truly begins in my eyes. I don't like the sound of that. This song is not happy. See, I just had a thought. Hell is empty, all the devils are here. But then I had another thought. The world population is consistently increasing. What if the number of souls in the world stays the same, and the devils that are in the world are just more and more psychopaths roaming the earth? Which is why things will inevitably get worse and worse, because there's more and more people. This was an enjoyable stream, even though this last episode is just an experience. Let's face it, that was an experience. That's the only way to describe it. It's something that you unfortunately go through. You don't say that it's enjoyable to go through it, because let's face it, watching that shit is not enjoyable. It is rage-inducing. It is a million things. But that being said, we've gone through that experience, and I can definitely see why people wanted a reaction to Fullmetal Alchemist. It is definitely reaction worthy. And overall, so far, it is a very good anime. It's very well made. I'm enjoying the music. I'm enjoying the story. I'm enjoying the character interactions. The episodes are long enough to cover the story of what's going on, but short enough to make it interesting. They're not dragging it on. They had something that densely packed and impactful within one episode. That is a very good anime. Most anime would drag that out into at least 2 episodes. But they did it in one, and they did it really well. So you give credit where credit is due. And so far, Fullmetal Alchemist is a great anime so far. So far. That being said, we probably still have another 40 episodes to go, so we'll see how it goes. If the first 4 episodes are any indication, we're in for one hell of a ride. Which is why I like Old Gnosis. We are in hell because God wants it. And we can only rebel by acknowledging love and kindness is more important than faith in God. I mean, if you achieve love and kindness amongst humanity, you wouldn't need to pray to God in the first place, because we wouldn't have so many problems. I legit forgot that I was 1 episode. For some reason, I thought it happened over 2 episodes. Memory is a funny thing. This was the episode I wasn't looking forward to when I saw the preview. Yeah, I can tell if you know this. And this is just episode 4 out of like 60. If the others are... If this is any indication of the other ones, it's gonna be a thing. It's gonna be a thing. That being said, thank you for joining me. Anime Mondays have been awesome so far. We're back to the main story of Fire Emblem Three Houses, finally. And we've learned so much, so we're no longer going to be noobs. I'm really looking forward to fighting the enemies next week. I'm also looking forward to more Fullmetal Alchemist next week. And hopefully, fingers crossed, we can fix that episode issue with Assassination Classroom and also get started with that. That being said, we've taken this opportunity to watch the Fullmetal Alchemist and have a good discussion. We very rarely have such... I mean, this episode reaction has been 1 hour and 15 minutes. How often does a single episode have so much discussion points in it? Not very often. That's what makes this anime really good. It's a lot more than just shock value. It's got substance, which is very rare. It's very rare. A lot of people go for blind shock value. It's either a funny joke or a cool fight scene or a jump scare. But this actually has substance. It's got oomph to it, which is, by the way, a really good band. I highly recommend you listen to them. Over the next week, when there's no streams, I might finish Golden Deer and catch up to where you are in Black Eagles. I mean, sure, you should be able to do it really quickly, since if you've watched the LP, you kind of know what happens, so you don't have to read as much. See you next time. Yep, I will see you. No, wait, next weekend I've got my mate's Bucks party. So next weekend we have the weekend off. I'm going to spend the week trying to edit as many videos as I can, because I have started going to work, which means I lose 8 to 10 hours a week, which is unfortunate. It makes it more difficult for me to edit, but I will do my best. So next weekend, no live streams, but the week after that, we go back to our regular streaming. I will upload these episodes and get them on the Patreon by the end of the week. That's where we have all our anime reactions, which we unfortunately can't put on YouTube for a number of reasons. I tried disputing one of those claims on YouTube. They refused to let me, so we're going to wait for it to time out. About a month left to go. Am I going to a wedding in this pandemic? I am. It's going to be a very short and small wedding. It's going to be about 12 people, so don't worry. And we've also got the pandemic under control here in New South Wales, so you don't have to worry about that. And plus, I'm going to be heavily intoxicated, so I don't even think I can catch the virus. As long as I keep my blood alcohol level above 90%, I should be fine. So I will see you all during the week on the Discord. If you're new, make sure you join the Discord. The link is down below. If you scroll, you've got the reaction channel if you want to check out the reactions. You've got the gaming channel if you want to check out the gaming. And you've got the Discord if you want to hang out with us there when we're not live streaming. So I will see you there during the week, and I will see you guys on the live stream in 2 weeks. Till then, Ninja Kuma out. Bye. By the way, I heard the troubles you guys having in England. They should have just locked everything fucking down until it got under control. They should not be letting people out on the streets. That's a fucking disaster. Anyway, see you guys later. Bye.
Hey, did I hand you a shrinking potion by accident? I could have sworn that was the gender swapping one.
Don't be hating. She's fun size, that's all. She doesn't even have to get on her knees to blow.
You want to add anything to that conversation?
Nope, I'm good. In fact, I think your new size makes you an even more formidable and stealthy ninja.